Good afternoon, everyone. Today, welcome to my lesson. Today we're going to be learning about knife safety and its uses in the working kitchen. So about how to use a knife safely and different types of knives. Your learning objective today, you should be able to, at the end of the lesson, you should be able to identify 3 different types of knives and their uses in the kitchen. Just so you're aware, this is the exit here, the only exit. We're going to have a break in between if you need a break. All right, so to be able to identify 3 different types of knives and how their uses. All right, so just to start, guys, tell me about a few different types of knives that you know.
One.
You know one? All right, what one do you know?
Just a knife.
Okay, what would you call it? Or what would you say it is?
A knife.
A knife. So you're not really okay. So this is going to be very informative for you. So you're talking about maybe is it the big knife you have in the kitchen, a chef's knife?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, no problem. So that's a different type of knife that you know. But what we're going to be learning today is that actually there's loads of different types of knives, and they have different uses in the kitchen for different jobs. All right. So moving on, we're first going to talk about how to be safe in a kitchen with knives. All right. Some of the things that you should do and some of the things that you shouldn't do. So we have, using a knife for the right purpose. And what we mean by that is, you don't want to use a knife for chopping vegetables to spread butter or something like that. So in order to be safe, if you use the right knife for the right jobs, it will help you. All right. Using the same thing, using the appropriate knife for the right job, carrying the knives with the cutting edge slightly away from your body and laid down. So this is to enable so that if somebody bumps into you, if you drop it, it isn't so dangerous. So you don't carry a knife pointing forward. Storing the knife in the correct places. This will also help to keep your knife sharp and to keep it looked after. Washing the knives thoroughly when preparing raw food, especially before using it on other food. So you don't want to use, especially if you're using the same knife for different jobs, you don't want to cut a piece of chicken and then not wash it and then go and cut some bread, because that could be cross-contamination. All right, and we spoke about also using the correct color chopping boards when preparing foods when using a knife. So this is also important because knives, when you're cutting things, you use a chopping board, but actually you want to use the right color chopping boards in the professional kitchen for the right jobs. Now, these are some of the things that we don't do. Miss Ali, could you read the first one for me? What would you not do?
Touch the knife blade.
To touch the knife blade. So why do you think you wouldn't touch the knife's blade?
You might cut yourself.
You might cut yourself. Very good. And what's the second one say?
Try to catch a falling knife blade.
All right. So if a knife drops, don't try and catch it. Same reason, you could hurt yourself. You could cut yourself. All right. And the third one says hand the knife to someone, and holding it like that. The better way is to put it down and let the person pick it up. Or leave a knife soaking in a sink of water. Why shouldn't you leave a knife soaking in a sink of water?
You can cut yourself.
You can cut yourself. So somebody might not be able to see where that knife is and put their hand in. And also talking to people or being distracted whilst using a knife. All right. So let's go on to different types of knives, like we started off with our starter. So this different types of knives will tell you what they're called and what their jobs and what you can use them for. So this first one is a cook's knife. This is the most common knife you find in a professional kitchen. It's either a chef's knife or a cook's knife, and it's used to do most different kinds of jobs. So it can do a multiple different kind of jobs that all other knives can do. And this is the reason why a lot of people have this. You can use it for chopping, for cutting something small, for slicing. This is a palette knife. So this is a blunt knife. We call it a palette knife, but it's actually not sharp. So this will be used for spreading things, flipping things over. A lot of people who bake things would use this in order for cakes, in order to make it smooth and ensure that it's nice. So you wouldn't use this in order to try and cut meat. So this is another example of using the knife for the right job. And this one is called, what would you say that one's called?
Cleaver.
As a cleaver. So it's used for chopping things like meat, bone, something big. You find a lot of butchers use big heavy knives like this. This one is a vegetable knife, so it's usually quite smaller, and it's used for cutting something. If you want to peel something or cutting something small, it's very sharp, but used for slicing and cutting ingredients. The go-to knife for chopping and preparing vegetables is a vegetable knife. All right, this is called a paring knife, almost like the vegetable knife, but a little bit smaller and a little bit sharper. So this is for preparing fruits and vegetables. You want to make something, maybe you're getting sort of like pretty shape or something really delicate, you use a paring knife. This one, very common in most kitchens as well, a bread knife. So serrated edge, all right, so you wouldn't use it to slice something, you need to saw something. So when you use this bread knife, the long knife with serrated edge, used to cut soft things like bread without squashing it. So you use that saw motion, all right? This knife here is also used in butcher shops very commonly, and we'll be using it in a professional kitchen when we're taking out bone from meat. It's a boning knife. It's a very dangerous knife because it's so sharp and it's so firm. So actually, if it falls on you, it could hurt you. So you have to be careful with these knives. So this is used for removing bone from meat. So it's very sharp. And this is actually not really a knife, but I will show you because we'll be using it in the kitchen. This is a sharpening steel. So it's a metal steel used to sharpen knives. The reason why it's important to also recognize it, to understand how to use it and what it's used for. Okay, right. Now this is looking at a knife and the anatomy of a knife and what different parts of the knife that it has. All right, so I want you to look at it and tell me what you think. Which one do you think here is the edge of the knife? Is it this one? Is it this one? Is it this one?
That bit, yeah.
This one, correct. That is the edge. This one is called the heel of the knife. That means it's the back, almost like the back. If you look at it like a foot, this would be the back. This here is called the bolster. This is the tip, and this is the rivet. Right, so these rivets are like little screws that attach, whether it's a wooden handle or a plastic handle, to the actual knife, which is like a metal thing going all the way through. So it's one metal piece of equipment. All right, so there you go. That was correct. There's the edge, there's the bolster, there's the heel, and there's the rivet. All right, and this is now looking at different methods of holding a knife and controlling the knife. This grip here, where your hand is like that, is called a claw grip. So usually when you've got something long, like a vegetable, in the demonstration here, we've got a piece of cucumber. It could be any long vegetable that you want to hold in a claw grip, or something. You can also hold an onion like that if you want to cut it into slices. And this grip is called the bridge hold. So we're going to hold something like that, and you go in between and cut it in half. So usually like for fruits, tomatoes, apples, things like that, you could use a bridge hold for. All right, so this is a quick quiz to see if you remember what we've been talking about and to see how much you've learned, right? Looking at this knife here, all right, could you tell me which one you think it is? Is it A, a chef's or cook's knife, B, a paring knife, or C, a bread knife?
A.
A. Let's see if it was correct. Which one is this? This one is either a cook's knife, a chef's knife, or a bread knife?
C.
C, a bread knife. Well done. And this one here is either a paring knife, a cleaver, or a sharpening steel. Which one do you think it is?
B.
B, a cleaver. Very good. And this one here is either a paring knife, a boning knife, or a vegetable knife. Which one do you think it is?
Is it A?
No, but very good guess. It is a vegetable knife. It does look very similar to the paring knife, but it is a vegetable knife. Okay, that's the end of our demonstration, but we're going to ask you a few questions. What have you learnt today?
I've learned 3 different types of knives and how to use them correctly.
Yeah.
And also what types of food we would use them on, and also how to hold a knife safely, if you're using the domes
Yeah.
in the kitchen.
Yeah. That's very good. Thank you very much for your time
Thank you.
and for being a wonderful student. Thank you very much.
That's all right, thank you.
Thank you.